This is Joe Coleman, the new television champion, the super soldier, the genetic jackpot, the Jack Knight, the Tan Lantern, and the master of the universe.
This is the beast of nature, the freak, Rob Terry.
Hi, I'm OVW official Josh Ashcraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at Triple Threat Talk. I'm Dean Hill.
This is Ricky Chevy, and I'm the blue-collar millionaire.
I'm Mr. Peck. God, that's great every time. Spectacular.
We're the Broner Brothers.
I am the One Girl Revolution, Taylor Hendricks.
This is Brandon Espinoza.
I'm the assassin.
I'm Bruno Raul Limata.
I'm James Moose Thomas.
I'm Shiloh Jones.
My name is Ron Head. I'm the announcer for OVW.
I'm Jamin Olivencia.
I'm Alex Silva. I'm Rocco Bellagio.
I'm Kerry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate.
Raphael Constantine.
I'm Rand Perez. My name's Muhammad Ali. Baez.
I'm Paradise.
This is Ohio Valley Wrestling, referee Chris Sharp.
This is Sexy Sean Casey. I'm Chris Silvio.
This is Michael Hayes. This is Jason Wayne.
And you're watching Triple Threat Talk.
To Triple Threat Talk, episode 82. 82. I am PostMaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with my esteemed co-host, Big B, Brandon DeMiro. Glad to be with you again, as always, sir. The doctor, unfortunately, not joining us again this week, still taking care of some personal matters. Hopefully we'll get him back next week. On the show this week, as always, we'll start the show with user questions. A lot of headlines to go over this week. The National Championship Snooze Fest, as it turned out to be.
Well, benefited from that.
Yeah, a big shocker there. RG3, down goes RG3. The NHL's back. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Shut your mouth. Some NBA news. The Major League Baseball Hall of Fame ballot.
Or lack thereof.
Exactly. The Australian Open starts Sunday, so Big B will give us some great insight with that. And we may review some of the top stories from 2012. So let's kick things off with our usual user questions. And with that, we'll start with the Buckin5. He wants to clarify a question he said last week.
Okay.
He said, last week I said, what was your video game and movie of the year? I guess we thought he meant video game movie.
It's kind of how it was worded.
Yes.
That's either here or there.
But we did answer your question last week because we did end up, but I wanted to clarify that it was worded in our typing.
I'll answer real quick just to brush over. Video game for a year for me was Hitman Absolution. I played it. I really enjoyed it. That's all. Moving on from that. So.
Now, I'm not married. Wait a minute. I am married. Wow! I am married, so I can't use this, but Big B, since you are a fish in the sea,
Fish.
what are some of your best pickup lines, Big B? Incite the viewers. They want to know.
What's the dating game?
Come on over. We'll play Battleship and Twister.
And watch bowling.
That's right.
I don't have any.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
I'm sorry, folks. I thought that I could go to Big B for some great insight, but obviously, I don't.
You're wrong there.
I was wrong there.
Yes, you were.
Do we think that anybody was ever pushed or given a championship before they were ready for one? We've answered these questions before, but it's been a while, so we'll just refresh. Obviously, Jack Swagger being the...
I think Sheamus is another one. As much as I like Sheamus, it was way too soon for him. As much as I did like him beating John Cena, because what John Cena was doing at the time, where he was just dominating everybody, for Sheamus to win as quickly as he did was kind of like... who are you? You know what I mean? And people were speculating, and they're not wrong, because he was buddy with Triple H, and it's like, well, this guy's good. Well, yeah, he's good now, but back then you didn't really buy into him yet. So I'd say Sheamus for me.
Yeah, obviously Jack Swagger, he was a world heavyweight champion, and now he's not even there. I mean, he's there, but he's not there. It didn't work for him. He's not good on the mic at all.
I said needs a mouthpiece.
Absolutely. So definitely with that. From Richard Kenobi.
Oh.
Big B.
What?
A question for you, sir.
Okay.
Out of all the SmackDown and WWE games, I guess it'd be the same thing, honestly. Which do you like the most?
In terms of SmackDown games, I'd say, I guess, SVR 06. That's the most, when I played the most when I was doing that, DWA. And in terms of WWE games, I would say the most recent one, W13. A lot of detail they put in the game, great roster. They've added so much content recently. The Attitude Era mode is fantastic. I mean, the whole package itself of WWE13 is just a great buy. It's one of those games that is worth the $60 you pay for it, or whatever you pay for it. It's worth the money.
Eesh.
It's worth the money.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's worth the money. So.
Right. Also from Richard Kenobi.
Right.
Do you think that The Rock can come in and be the WWE champion, or will McMahon turn him down?
I mean, I think it's already. I mean, like, look at it this way. Punk's been champion for 400 plus days.
415.
416, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the case no matter what. I don't know. Does Punk really win over The Rock? Is that what they're going to do? Is they're going to have Punk beat one of the biggest stars they've ever had?
Well, The Rock didn't beat John Cena. John Cena's bigger than Punk, I think. But
it could be setting up, like I said, The Rock having the championship into WrestleMania. So I think The Rock's going to be. I don't agree with it because The Rock's had his time. His time is over, and I think it should be the new stars getting pushed and getting championship matches and this and that and the other. But The Rock, whether people like it or not, he's going to win the belt at Royal Rumble. That's just how it's going to be.
I think so. All indications are. I'll tell you one key thing to watch for, and that is who gets the best of who at the end of each week.
Right. Yeah.
And this is something I've noticed for years, and more often than not, it works. Back the last time we saw The Rock, he got GTS pretty hard.
Yeah,
last week he got the rock bottom. So if you go in terms of who gets the last laugh, CM Punk will get the last laugh before Royal Rumble.
We'll see.
But we shall see.
Right.
From Against All Odds 20, have you guys ever seen Shakira?
It's pronounced Chikara. That's okay. Don't abuse him. I've never seen it, but I have heard of it. Some actually famous people have been in Chikara, including Antonio Cesaro back when he was Claudio Castagnoli. He was in there. A bunch of famous people have been in Chikara, so I have heard of it. I've never seen it, but I have heard of it. So it is an independent promotion that's out there that has some credibility because there are guys that are in WWE and TNA and all over the world that have been in that organization that are very good right now. So.
I have not seen it. I know nothing about it. I guess maybe I should. I don't know.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So, also from Against All Odds 20, when do you think they're going to reveal the new look for the WWE title? Come on.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Maybe if The Rock wins.
Maybe if The Rock wins, or maybe after WrestleMania if John Cena wins the belt again. I don't know. Like I said, your guess is as good as mine because I thought they were going to reveal it. When Punk was passing somebody when he had the title for so many days or whatever, and I saw the new design of it. I'm not happy with it. It looks. Anything looks better than the belt they have now. Anything looks better than that. But the belt that they made, the new one they made, doesn't look much better. But it is what it is. So we'll see when they reveal. But I have no idea. Like I said, your guess is as good as mine.
I don't know either. Like he said, it could be when The Rock wins or whoever wins the belt at WrestleMania. They could debut and say, the new belt for the new champ. But we shall see. From Big Corn 16. Now with Mike Knox, a part of the Aces and Eights, who else do you think is a part of them under those masks?
I think they're pretty much all known now. There's Devon Dudley.
There's Jonah Hill.
What?
Don Johnson.
What the heck?
Clearly you haven't seen Django. But anyway, that's another story for another day.
Like I said, Devon Dudley's one of them. We've heard, Luke Gallows, or he's called Doc now. Mike Knox. And there's been rumors speculating, and I think one of the other one is Garrett Bishop. So that's pretty much all of them at this point. We thought people from OVW. Obviously, we were wrong.
Right.
So it's pretty much, it's just, typical TNA, getting people that didn't work in WWE, just putting them and giving them a contract. AKA, well, like I said, I'm not saying Luke Gallows is bad because he's very good. He just wasn't utilized. But and to my point, people that WWE didn't use, TNA just swoops them up, like Mike Knox and Luke Gallows. So.
I agree with him. It makes the most sense. Like I've always said, they continue the thing of let's take old WWE guys and stick them in TNA. Okay, yeah, works great. Kind of like WCW. And where did that end up? Just saying.
Poke of doom.
Yeah. Big Corn 16 also asked, and I think I may know the answer to this for you.
Really?
Yes, maybe. What tag teams do you think should be split up to give the members a singles push?
What do you think my answer is going to be?
I would think maybe you would want your boy Cody to be split up. I would think, because you said earlier, a couple weeks ago, we had a question. You thought Cody could win the world title before the year's up, and obviously for that to happen, he would have to be split up. Although they make a good team.
Right.
And they do gel well together.
Yes.
In order to achieve the goal that you would like him to achieve,
Yes.
he would have to definitely be split up from Mr. Damian Sandow.
Right. Obviously, that's obviously my answer. He stole that from me. Definitely, I want to see Cody Rhodes get his singles push. He had a push for a while, Intercontinental Champion. Usually, when you see someone that was Intercontinental Champion for as long as he was, a world title shot is pretty much in line because he held the title for a long time, longer than most champions of recent memory that was Intercontinental Champion. So him obviously is the number one. Other people that are in tag teams, I was joking yesterday with some friends but I thought it'd be kind of funny if you remember when JTG and Shad were a Crime Time. They were a team for a long time, and then Shad turned on them, and then were JT and Shad. It'd be kind of funny to see Jimmy and Jay Uso break up, and it's Jimmy Uso versus just Jay. Not Jay, just Jay.
Just Jay.
Yeah.
I guess that could work. As much as I like Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan needs his own push. I know he had a bit of a one before, but it may have been another case of was he ready for that big time push. But
I think with him, it was so much popularity on the internet that kind of swayed him to get his push because he's done it all in terms of independence. Daniel Bryan, he has done everything that anyone can possibly do. So I think they wanted to give him that, that chance.
And he's uber over regardless.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, he just walks on the screen and it's like, no, yes,
maybe.
Yeah.
He could say anything.
Yeah, you could. So that's views or questions this week. We'd like to thank all of our comments, quandaries, queries, criticisms, and
conundrums.
I don't know, but we appreciate all even the comments where you just left, just making statements. So with that, it is turned over to Big B, and he will anoint this week's episode 82 viewer of the week.
I'm at a loss. I don't know who to pick this week, but in terms of, I think the question that brought the most debate and discussion, I think I'm going to go with Richard Kenobi with his question about The Rock and WWE Champion because it kind of brought not only that question, the answer to that question, but kind of looking forward, what's going to happen after Rumble, WrestleMania, and that. So I am anointing Richard Kenobi this week's Triple Threat Talk, episode 82, Viewer of the Week. See how I did that? Let you finish your water first.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so
that's good.
You get to go.
Yeah, exactly. What?
Exactly.
So moving on here to some headlines, and let's delve right into it. Why don't we start with Big B? And why don't you tell us about the Australian Open that starts on Sunday?
Well, obviously Sunday's going to be heavily, populated with people watching the football games, the Seahawks and the Falcons and the...
but you'll be tuned in.
Yes, Texans and Patriots. But, it's 6:30, so it'll be during the late game, so obviously I think it'll still... Because Australian time is weird. It's late.
It's like a day and a couple hours.
It's like late here, so it's like 3 o'clock in the morning here. It's like it's nighttime there, so it's very odd time. So it's kind of hard to watch as a tennis fan myself because you usually have to watch it on tape delay because it's usually on the time I should be sleeping. So starts Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN2, ESPN3.com. You can also watch it on your Watch ESPN app. Obviously, going into it, the big story: Nadal is not playing. Obviously was out since July with that knee injury, and he got surgery, and he was rehabbing it, and then last couple weeks ago he had to pull out of the Abu Dhabi exhibition tournament because of a stomach issue, so he's not playing in Australia either. So now that kind of opens things up for some people like Andy Murray, because it's hard to judge where I think people are going to go in this tournament because the bracket has not come out yet. The bracket doesn't come out until this Friday, so it's kind of hard to judge that. Next week we're going to have a full update on that, like the bracket, and the first round will be played, the first couple matches will be played, so you kind of know where everyone's going. As far as the men's side goes, I don't think you can count out Roger Federer because he's Roger Federer. Djokovic won the title last year in one of the best matches of 2012 against Nadal, almost 6-hour match. Murray, like I said, won the last Grand Slam of the year in New York, U.S. Open. Windy conditions, but he won nonetheless. So he's got to be a high favorite there. Ferrer is going to be in it now because he's playing the best tennis of his career at age 30. We'll have to see what happens with these young guys like Bernard Tomic from Australia, see how he does. On the women's side, I don't think anyone can stop Serena, to be honest with you. She's like the clear favorite. I think the only one that can the only one that can possibly stop her run is probably a Sharapova or an Azarenka. Other than that, I don't see Serena having any issues winning down there. I like this tournament. It's the first tournament of the year. It seems like it's going to be very competitive. Again, the Nadal not being there kind of helps people, like I said, like a Murray or a Ferrer. We'll see what happens. I love, obviously January is the beginning of tennis. I like seeing the start of tennis this Sunday. So.
All right, good stuff from Big B as always. Very insightful with the tennis coverage. He keeps us well informed, and we will have wall-to-wall coverage of the Australian Open next week. And also tune in next week. We may have a very special tennis expert on the show, so be looking out for that as well. Moving on a bit here, the National Hockey League is making its return. A 48-game season has been announced. A CBA agreement was reached between the NHLPA and the NHL. 10-year agreement with both sides being able to opt out after 8 years. The players' revenue split went from 57% down to 50%. So it is a 50-50 split.
Right.
And I know it's a shortened season, but being a hockey fan, I'm glad it took a 16-hour marathon day to get this done, and they got it done. And when we come back, we'll continue with the NHL lockout, and we'll move on to more headlines right after this.
The Fresh Maker.
And we're back here on Triple Threat Talk. Big B, Brandon Demiro alongside Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers. And before the break, you were discussing the NHL return. And like I said this to you before, this lockout and potential cancellation of sexy, it makes the NHL look like a joke. I'm sorry. It does. Because this is 2 times now in the last 8 years that their season almost was completely canceled. 48-game season. Are you kidding me? 48 games.
Yes, 48 games.
You're telling me a team is going to go 24-24 make the playoffs?
They could.
Pathetic.
I agree. It's bad, but from a fan standpoint, taking the analysis out of it, from a fan standpoint, it's better than not having hockey at all.
Right.
I'll take 48 games. They play an 82-game normal schedule.
Right.
So they're missing out on 34 games,
right.
Which is a lot. So they're going to be playing mostly all conference games.
Almost half the season was lost.
Yeah. They're going to be playing all conference games, all division games. So basically every game's going to count. The key is you're going to have to get out of the box quick.
Yeah.
And you can't go on a prolonged losing streak.
No.
Big example, the 94-95 Penguins, I think. They started out absolute fire pistols, and they had a crappy end. But because they had such an epic start and such a shortened season, they still made the playoffs.
Right.
But it does hurt the league. It hurts the image of the league. There's no doubt in that. Because you were slowly starting to build up. I mean, you started seeing games on NBC regularly.
Yeah.
You saw games on the NBC Sports Network regularly. And Fox Sports was picking up, both the Ohio teams and the Predators in Nashville. So you had that. So there was a lot of hockey on TV.
Yeah.
You'll still have that, obviously. And as a matter of fact, I read somewhere where the NHL, as a bribery to their fans, more or less, or an apology, call it what you want, the NHL Center Ice package is free for the entire year.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you have the capability and you are a hockey fan, or you just want to catch out a couple games.
Exactly. So, I mean, like I said, good for you that the hockey's back. To me, I think 48 games is a complete joke.
I agree. I don't like the idea of it only being 48 games, but, it is what it is. So, the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame was today, the ballot announcements, and
no one got it.
Nobody got in. It was the first year for Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, and Barry Bonds, all on the ballot. Also, Mike Piazza, who was on the ballot, I think last year was his first year.
Yes, this year or last.
Yeah, he also did not get in. Big B, thoughts?
I'm very disappointed in two players that are not getting it. Obviously, Mike Piazza, one of my favorite players, played for the Mets for a long time. Was a good player for the Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers before he went to the Mets. One player I'm kind of shaking my head and scratching and very confused about is Craig Biggio. Craig Biggio had over 3,000 hits, and his stats are second to none. He has more. I think he has more doubles than Hank Aaron. His stats are impeccable, but he doesn't get in. What do you have to do to get in? I think he had like 68% of the vote. They missed the 75% by 6.5%. I think he had 68.5%. I don't get it. Obviously, Sosa, Clemens, and Bonds again does not surprise me. As I think Bonds should get in, but it's what it is because I said they never definitively found out he did anything. Clemens they did, Sosa they did, but I don't think Bonds really definitively ever said you did this. So I think Bonds should get in because let's face it, I think Bonds was a Hall of Fame player before he even took steroids when he went to San Francisco. He had a really good career in Pittsburgh. He played very well there. He just obviously played better in San Francisco because of certain things that he did. But like I said, this is very disappointing. Especially I think Mike Piazza probably the third best catcher ever, behind Carly Yastrzemski and Yogi Berra.
Mike Piazza's only problem was he wasn't a very good defensive catcher. He put up very good offensive numbers, but his record as a defensive catcher was not very good at all. He wasn't very good as a defensive catcher. My thoughts are, I think all these guys should get in, but with an asterisk.
Even Piazza?
No.
Okay.
He had nothing to do with steroids.
Oh, you mean Sosa? Okay. All of them, I was about to say.
Well, let me clarify. Excluding Mike Piazza and Craig Biggio, but I mean the steroid area guys. Sosa, Bonds, Clemens.
Another one doesn't make sense was Kurt Schilling. You can get in there.
Yeah, I don't understand that one either, but
it's tough to get in apparently.
I realize they probably took steroids. Only a couple of them were found for sure, but they should all get in with an asterisk. Because this was a black eye for baseball.
Yeah. So
why not have that as part of your history?
Yeah, and you think Cooperstown is clean, you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, why not have that as part of your history? That way, 50 years from now, when, we're all old and gray and nearly dead, and we take our great-great-grandchildren to Cooperstown to see the Hall. Well, I remember when I was a young lad, and that Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, and they took those steroids. I'm just saying, it makes it, I'm not trying to.
I think the accent was kind of.
I know. So moving on from that, obviously. So a little NBA news.
The Clippers are hot. There's no way else I can put it. The Clippers are a hot team. They're the hottest team in LA. Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, that whole team is just top to bottom fantastic. I haven't watched basketball in a long time. I've watched it here and there, but the game I watched last week between the Clippers and the Lakers made me a fan of basketball. It was a fantastic game. If you can't get hyped watching that as a sports fan, then you can't like sports because the Clippers-Lakers game was fantastic. And on the flip side, the Lakers are falling apart. They're one of the worst teams in the West. They could make the playoffs, but right now it doesn't look too promising. Pau Gasol is out with a concussion. Dwight Howard's hurt. Kobe's playing fantastic, but it doesn't really matter when the team's not playing well. The team is very old. Kobe said it, and he's not wrong. I still think Mike D'Antoni is the wrong coach for that position because he's not the best coach for that kind of scheme of team. He's a great offensive coach. They're putting up points, which is fine, but their defense is not playing well. They're losing to teams like they lost last night to the Rockets, who are on a hot streak. I actually like the Rockets because Jeremy Lin is on them. But I mean, the Lakers are just falling apart. They look really bad. They're losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to. It just is a bad situation, and the teams and going to bad situations. The Miami Heat, they're still good, but they lost to the Wizards.
They lost to the Pacers last night.
It's very. I mean, the Heat are going to be fine, but losses like that say to me in the playoffs they're not going to really win this again because they're losing to teams like the Wizards, and they don't even have John Wall. So to lose to that team is pathetic. So
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. NBA is, you never know with the NBA. Teams go, it seems like more often than not with NBA, the regular season is kind of like, ugh.
But I tell you this much.
And when they get to the playoffs, it's like they all flip a switch.
But I'm saying right now, watch the Clippers. There's actually a game. We are filming this on a Wednesday to be up Thursday. There's a Clipper game tonight at 10:30 ESPN. Make sure you watch it. You will be excited to watch them. It's fantastic basketball. Like I said, even like the great Magic Johnson. Who are we to discount Magic Johnson's opinion? He calls them the new Showtime. Back when the Lakers were with Magic Johnson, he's not wrong. That team is exciting. It's an exciting team. The Clippers. They are no longer the doormat of the Lakers anymore. The Lakers are more the doormat of them right now because the Clippers just dominate them in every sense of the word. So watch out for the Clippers.
Right. So moving on to the national championship game.
There was a game.
There was a game, apparently, as the Triple Threat Talk hotline is ringing.
I hate when that rings.
Apparently the doctor's calling to give us an update.
Yeah, but, I'll say this. I was talking to Buck and Five earlier. He was saying to me, did you watch the game on Monday? I said, what game? And he was kind of reiterating the game. I think he was getting what I was talking about. There really wasn't a game. No. Because my definition of a game is that two teams come in and they are competitive. Like I said, the game with Seattle and Washington, that was a game. It was competitive. Louisville in Florida was not a game. It was more Louisville than anything else. The Rose Bowl was a game. It was close. This was not a game. Okay? Alabama scores quickly from the gun, 7-0, and they never look back. It just was, all year, Notre Dame's defense was a defense that you depended on and were tough, stout defense that would stop the run and not a lot of yards, not a lot of points. They didn't do any of those things that night. And Manti Te'o's stock just dropped a huge percentage because he was looked at one of the best linebackers in the country, a high draft pick in the NFL draft in April. Now I'm not so sure where he's going to fall because he missed a lot of tackles in that game. And Alabama just rolled Tide, literally. They rolled over Notre Dame. And it kind of puts a credit to your point you made last week that you don't think Notre Dame should be in this game, should be number one.
I picked them.
And you're not wrong because Notre Dame didn't show up for this game. They got completely demolished.
Yeah, they got, as you use one of my favorite words, they got walloped.
Yeah, here's the thing. Notre Dame in this game, you think of the number one team, the story. Like I said on Facebook, I picked Alabama, but I want Notre Dame to win. The story would be an amazing end if they won the national championship over, powerhouse Alabama with the genius coach that is Nick Saban and the powerhouse SEC and the Alabama Crimson Tide that are one of the greatest programs in all of college sports.
They're probably going to win it again next year.
I would think so. The people I have coming back, but Notre Dame. This is not the Notre Dame team we saw for 12 games this year. They didn't show up on defense. They missed tackles. They were throwing the football when they were running the ball all year. So I don't know why they were throwing the football in Alabama. So they completely went away from what won them 12 games. And they play Alabama.
You see this a lot.
Yeah.
You see where a team, because they think one team knows what they're going to do, so they change it, but it ends up working out worse than if you just stuck with what you've done all year.
Yeah. And the biggest surprise to me was the opening kick. The coin toss. They win the coin toss, Notre Dame. What do? They defer. Why would you defer? Because your defense, you're going to stop Alabama? No, you go on the field and make a statement first on offense. You say, yeah, we know our defense is big time because they were big time in the 12 games they played this year. But you go out there and say, you know what? Our offense is going to score first on you. You're going to have to play against. And I think that would help them momentum-wise if they went on the field first and scored. And then Alabama's like, well, this team can score on offense. We got to play. And then the defense, I think, would have been riled up. And it would have been a closer game. Well, I'm saying Alabama would have still won. Yes, I'm saying they still would have won. But I think it would have been more competitive. But Brian Kelly said, you know what? Take the ball in the second half. Yeah. If you look at it this way, second half was 14-14. But instead, it was 20-0 in the first half. So that was the game for you. So
yep, it was a absolute wallop, and apparently Brent Musburger didn't really have his eyes on the ball game, did he?
No, he didn't. Here's the thing about this. ESPN issued an apology,
which they shouldn't. I'm sorry.
I was reading what she said today. Very lovely young lady.
But she's Miss Alabama, for Pete's sake.
But anyway. I don't think an ESPN should really issue an apology because they didn't really say anything wrong.
No,
I mean,
he said she's a pretty girl.
I mean, I'm guaranteed because I know there's a small percentage, but there's a small percentage of women that watch this show. What girls like to be called beautiful and gorgeous? How stupid would you be if you didn't want to be called beautiful and gorgeous?
Exactly.
He didn't like say she was hot and sexy. He didn't make a lewd, crude comment. He said something nice about a very beautiful woman. And for the ESPN to and the thing is, they're really helping Matt by showing her every single time at the game. So what's she doing now? This and that, it's just like
exactly.
So they really help themselves by keep handing to her. And you know what? kudos to Musburger, because no one's talking about the game. They're talking about more than that, than the game itself.
And everybody on Twitter's like, show more pictures of her. This is making it exciting.
And her Twitter followers jumped up 10,000 folds.
50,000.
I mean, really?
50,000 more followers in a night.
Good Lord.
That's something that, like, famous athletes or actors or actresses do, not girlfriends of quarterbacks.
And I can't blame her for saying what she said, that, you know, the attention shouldn't really be on her, which it shouldn't be. It should be on A.J. McCarron and the Alabama scrum for winning, you know, 3 national championships out of 4 years for them, and it should be that reason, not her. But, you know, I mean, like I said, Brett Musburger, I think he was bored because the game wasn't very exciting, so like, what else am I going to do? So,
you know what would have been funnier is if every time they panned to a new shot of A.J. McCarron's girlfriend, he could have went, "You are looking live."
Oh my God.
The final college football polls are out. Alabama, of course, number 1.
As it should be.
Ohio State, number 2.
Our friend Michael's very happy about that.
Florida's number 9, and Louisville is 13. I don't like it.
I don't like it, but I don't have as much of a problem with it as you do, because, like I said, Louisville going in was 21.
I realize that
8 spots.
They run up. I realize that, but they crushed Florida.
No, I'm not denying
they
that.
should at least be ranked for Florida.
I agree, but
I'm not saying they should be as high as Florida, but Florida should have came down, and Louisville should have been higher ranked than Florida.
I somewhat agree, but I'm not too unhappy about it because, like I said, rankings mean nothing to me right now.
Well, no,
because Louisville beat Florida, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, we'll wait till next year. Hopefully, Louisville does what teams like Syracuse and Connecticut next year, and they can win, maybe go undefeated, and maybe give Bridgewater a national championship. And obviously, he'll be in the Heisman conversation as everyone's, you know, expecting him to be.
Absolutely. So when we get back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about some of the biggest stories that happened in 2012. We're going to spend the next segment just kind of recapping some of our highlights, what we thought was, you know, a big moment in sports. We'll also do that with wrestling during our wrestling coverage. We'll cover some of the biggest moments in wrestling of 2012. And then, of course, after the sports era in review, we'll delve into a little sport called football. I think.
Yeah.
I think they still play
That's the Final Four.
Yeah,
in each conference.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be back after this commercial break here on Triple Threat Talk. Stay tuned.
Hey Cam, thanks a lot for coming to my school today.
No problem, Nate.
I promise to exercise and eat right.
Don't forget 60 minutes of play a day, right?
And I'll grow up to be big and strong like you.
Absolutely.
And play in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And be drafted number 1.
Maybe.
Become the starting quarterback of the Panthers.
Okay.
You can be my backup.
Excuse me?
And make Panthers fans forget about you.
What?
And become your mom's favorite player.
Whoa.
I'm just loosening my arm.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Hey.
My little boy loves playing football.
It's a great game.
But what is the NFL doing to make the game safer?
We're doing a lot. Carl?
Well, Tom, we're developing new rules to better protect our players.
And over the next decade with the NFL Players Union, they're dedicating more than $100 million for medical research.
Wow.
As well as supporting the development of better and safer equipment.
And I feel a lot better about him playing.
Love to meet the little guy.
Ray, meet Tom.
Cute kid.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brandon DeMiro. And as we said before the break, we're going to kind of go over just a few of our biggest highlights of the year of 2012.
I know it's kind of late, but we're getting around to it. So.
Yeah, we're getting around to it. It won't be a whole show like last year. Just, you know, things happen, little changes. But maybe at the end of this year, we'll have something a little better for you.
Yeah.
To kind of, we'll go in chronological order a little bit. In January, Alabama, just like this year, defeats LSU.
21-0.
Revenge game after LSU beat them in the regular season. Alabama come back and
won. Field goal bowl.
Yeah, won that. The New York Football Giants
flipped the switch.
They ran the NASCAR package, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And they won the Super Bowl, defeating the New England Patriots again. So they obviously have the Patriots number in the playoffs.
I think the Patriots are glad to see not this year.
It's like, oh, they're gone. Thank goodness. Novak Djokovic won the Australian Open.
Over Rafael Nadal.
Yep, absolutely. In the second major of the year, Rafael Nadal took this major. He won the
French Open.
The Australian and the French Open. All right. The Kentucky Wildcats pulled off a awesome season, losing only twice all year. I believe they lost to Indiana on a last-second three-pointer Hail Mary, and they lost to Vanderbilt in the SEC championship game, and they defeated Kansas in the Final Four to win the championship, their 8th banner, and the first at UK for John Calipari.
Good job by him.
Yep, definitely good stuff there. Moving on to the summertime, Roger Federer picked up the Wimbledon.
Roger Federer wins at Wimbledon.
Defeated Andy Murray in the championship.
And then Federer became number 1 again, and he passed Pete Sampras' record, so Federer gets all these accolades and records as he deserves. And then a little later, Murray gets his revenge by winning at Wimbledon, winning a gold medal. So. And
actually, he got his revenge before then, because he won the... Oh, that's right, you're right. I don't know why I was... Backwards. He won the U.S. Open after...
Well, he beat Djokovic in the final.
Yeah, but he won the U.S. Open after winning the gold medal in the Olympics.
So a good year for Murray.
So definitely a good year for Andy Murray. A good year for tennis all around, if you think about it, because you didn't have one person winning everything.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you have...
But everyone, always talks about it, and it's the truth. The big four, Djokovic, Murray, Nadal, Federer. Now, Nadal's out, so you probably have Djokovic, Federer, and Murray. Maybe Ferrer can squeeze in there, I don't know, but Nadal's not playing right now. So
right, yeah.
Someone's going to step up.
Yep. The San Francisco Giants are your 2012 World Series champions. They win the World Series, defeating the...
Detroit Tigers.
The Motor City Tigers, definitely there.
With Pablo Sandoval as your MVP.
Yep.
A.K.A. Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
I think it's called Panda, but whatever.
The Miami Latino Heat get LeBron James, King James, his first title.
Went to South Beach and he won a ring.
Yep, just like he said. Although he's not going to win 7 or 8 like he said.
No.
But he might win a couple. No. But definitely not 7 or 8. The Los Angeles Kings win the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, defeating your New Jersey Devils.
It was competitive because the previous year before that, the Kings just rolled over everybody, and the Devils at least made it competitive.
Yep, they did. They definitely did. And finally, to end the year, Brad Keselowski wins the 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Championship. Ended a 7-year reign which saw only a Johnson or a Stewart winning the championship.
Right, yeah. Another thing I can think of mentioning, I guess we're just going off the top for a head.
Yeah.
My God. Have you ever seen in your lifetime a better rookie class than we've had this year? I can't think of one. Because
it's amazing.
It's incredible. Obviously, Luck and Griffin were obviously expected to do this well because they were 1 or 2 pick in the draft. But the one that's outstanding is the one that no one expected to be here is Russell Wilson, the 35th pick overall, 3rd round. Didn't think they were going to start because they paid all this money to Matt Flynn. But Russell Wilson proved in practice and proved to Pete Carroll and the coaching staff that he deserved to play, and he's the only rookie playing right now. And I can't discount anybody else too. I can't discount Doug Martin, who played fantastic in Tampa Bay. I think Tannehill's going to have a fantastic career. Whedon, he's in Cleveland, so I don't know how he's...
Alfred Morris,
good boy. It's all these guys in the rookie class. I've never seen such a great stack of rookies from top to bottom.
It's great.
And it's great. And another thing I can think of, going off Russell Wilson, the referees. The replacement referees in the NFL
big story.
Last year was terrible. Obviously, there was no agreement reached. And then that play, everyone knows that play. We showed it on the show before. Russell Wilson throwing deep to Golden Tate. Obviously, looks like it was intercepted. Obviously, the referee saw a different way. Either way, if they said Sam was heinous or not, there's still a penalty by Golden Tate, pass interference on the offense. The game will be over, so Seattle does not win that game. But it is what it is. Seattle wins. They're moving. They're now 11-5.
Both teams are still in it.
Yeah, so they might meet up in the NFC Championship. We don't know. We'll see what happens this weekend, which that would be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
That'd be interesting. I think it's what people want to see, honestly, coming from a standpoint who win the game without the replacement. So
with the real referees.
Yeah, so it's tough because a lot of stories this year. Obviously, the rookies in the NFL. Obviously, you said the LA Kings, and now hockey now is going to be shortened by at least almost half the games.
So can the LA Kings repeat?
Yeah, so it's setting up a good 2013.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good sports year. We did have a couple. You had the continuation of Jerry Sandusky, which seems like that never ends.
The circus that was the New York Jets.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I mean, you know, might as well just put a red wig and a red circle, a red nose on Rex Ryan because he's a complete clown.
Instead of Barnum and Bailey, it's Rex and Ryan.
Yeah, well, Rex and Johnson, Woody Johnson and Rex Ryan.
My God!
Disaster of that team. I know our friend Terry, the fan advocate, loves the Jets. He's a passionate Jets fan, and he must have had one of the worst years ever in terms of football fan because the Jets were the laughingstock of the NFL. They weren't like the worst team because obviously the Chiefs, the Jaguars, and the Raiders were down there as well. But the Jets were easily the most laughable team of this season. 6-10, no clue what to do in terms of quarterback wise. One of the most embarrassing plays I've ever seen in my life in Mark Sanchez in the butt fumble after calling it the bumble on Thanksgiving Day against the Patriots. That's an embarrassment in terms of a season if you're a Jets fan, and just a complete failure. Even Fireman Ed had to leave the Jets. That's how bad it was.
It was bad. Some other big football stories that we'd like to talk that are worth mentioning. Tebow Mania. Towards the end of last season and last year's playoffs, he went in and shocked the world by defeating the Steelers. And now he's been involved in that circus. The Jets. Hopefully he's gone to the Jaguars. Some big comebacks this year. How about the accomplishments of Calvin Johnson? So much for a Madden curse.
Well, you know, even though he broke Jerry Rice's record, two things that attribute to, I think, the Madden curse in that sense. One, the team lost 8 games in a row, so that's part of it, because the teams have had lost games in a row with being on the cover of Madden.
Right.
And two, not many people are happy he broke the record in the first place, because Matthew Stafford just threw like 700 passes this season, which is more than anybody in the history of the NFL. So people aren't really happy that he threw that many passes to break the record. So I can see where that's kind of getting people on people's nerves, because how could you not break the record? You're throwing 700 passes. That's a lot of throws in the NFL. And I'm surprised his arm didn't fall off. So
you're telling me Pete Carroll coaches the Lions?
What? What the heck?
Adrian Peterson, 9 yards short. But a good comeback. Just a year prior to torn ACL, he comes back and he rushes. Him and Christian Ponder lead the team to the playoffs. Unfortunately, we'll get into that here in a little bit with NFL coverage. Ponder doesn't get to play, and the Vikings lose in their first-round game.
Joe Webb was absolutely terrible.
Yes, absolutely. He made Mark Sanchez look good, and that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah, obviously, I forgot about tennis and the other stuff. There were a lot of upsets this year. Obviously Lucas Rosol beating Nadal in Wimbledon was the biggest one. How could I forget about Serena Williams and her dominance in the summer? It was a great year for tennis, I think, because you saw even though you have the young guys coming up, you still have the same legends in the sport still there and saying we're still here to play, like Federer and Serena. They won Wimbledon and they were there to prove what they had still, and they're still going strong. So that's a good time for tennis, and it's one of those things that even though you have the big four, it's still competitive because there's a lot of guys really hungry and really playing at the top of their game to try and break that big four. That's Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, and Federer. So
the robot known as Peyton Manning
comes back.
Wowzer!
Yeah, he comes back.
Not rusty at all, is he, fella?
No. Sheriff Manning.
The Broncos look absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, they started out a little rocky, but now since they've got the train rolling, they're 13-3.
11 games in a row.
They're the 1 seed in the AFC.
Yep.
Granted, the defense is playing great too, and he has got a ton of weapons to throw.
Decker, Thomas.
Yeah,
so
Tammy, Dreesen. There's a lot of people. Stokely. No Sean Moreno. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, they got a good team.
They got a very good team.
In terms of other things, the NASCAR, that obviously incident with Tony Stewart throwing the helmet.
Oh yeah,
that was one thing. Obviously, we want to thank Dustin Long for being on the show this past year for doing the interview, the NASCAR writer for Sports Illustrated. That was an awesome, our first big interview on the show, other than wrestling wise. So that was really cool to see him on the show this year. Other sports stories I'm trying to think of at this point. Obviously the situation with Penn State. Obviously that was a big thing. It took a big part of our sports stories last year.
Right.
I didn't want to delve into that, but I was just bringing it up because it was something that kind of did take over the airwaves, as they say.
Unfortunately, it seems like people want to hear more bad news than they want to hear good news.
I know we didn't do it like we did last year with the all this stuff, but at the time we have before break, let's go over some small awards, not small, but big awards, we're not going to go into delve it. I think MVP is probably going to be Peyton Manning. Would you agree with that?
I would. I don't know.
Comeback player is probably going to be Adrian Peterson.
Whoever wins one will not win the other.
Right, I agree with that. Rookie of the year, you can't pick this one wrong unless you pick Brandon Weeden or Ryan Tannehill. But you can't pick wrong if you pick Wilson, Luck, or RG3. Honestly, personally, to me, even though he's my quarterback, I still go with Luck. The team was 2-14 last year, and Luck comes in and
it was all luck too.
Yeah, pretty much.
No pun intended, but it was.
As much as I like Russell Wilson, as much as I support him, as much as I'm happy that he's still in the playoffs, and Seahawks this is the best Seahawks team I've ever seen, including Super Bowl year because they didn't win a game on the road. They won a game on the road. Now they couldn't do it under Mike Holmgren, but I think Luck is the clear rookie of the year. He came in a 2-14 team. Not really much changed in terms of the receivers and the offense. And he comes in and leads the team to the playoffs after going 2-14. Spectacular. I think he's rookie of the year, Andrew Luck.
I would agree with you. However, I think with winning a playoff game and on the road, mind you, with a team that's known to not be that great on the road, but to win on the road, to be in the divisional round in the playoffs, I think Russell Wilson could win the rookie day, especially since he was a pick 76th, 73rd overall. So I
think that game might have helped him in his cause. I still think it should go to Luck, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad if it went to Russell Wilson. I would not be mad.
Yeah. I do have a highlight I'd like you to show.
Okay. Hopefully I can find it.
Pretty easy highlight to find.
Okay.
This had to be the craziest sports highlight of 2012.
Okay.
Juan Pablo Montoya blowing up the jet dryer.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at this clip right here, this was at the first race of the year at Daytona, and Juan Pablo Montoya wrecking into the jet dryer under caution, and it blows up. Wow. Definitely a highlight of the year for me. So with that wraps up the 2012 year in review.
Not as elaborate as last year, but...
No, obviously. So when we get back, we will get into NFL coverage right after this.
Oh, babe, check this out. Hey, come on. You want a little chippy? You want a Dorito? Are you hungry? I want to get a Dorito.
Babe, don't hurt my dog.
Come on, get a tip. Come on, get a tip. Get a tip. Come on. Here we go.
Fast forward, rewind. Fast forward, rewind. That's called a juke. I know your eyes are closed, but really you should look at this. Fast forward, rewind. Right there. Wait, let me slow it down. Ooh, I missed the tackle. Here, it almost looks better from back here. That is convincing. I mean, you're crying.
Madden NFL 13, rated E for everyone. A new look, a new feel, a new way to Madden forever. EA Sports, it's in the game.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brendan DeMiro, and now we'll move on to the sport that we all love but goes so fast. The NFL. The Divisional Round. And then there were 8. Mm-hmm. 8 teams standing. And let's see how we got to that road. Obviously, we know that the Falcons and the Patriots and the Broncos and the 49ers all had byes.
But some teams had to play to get in this.
That's right. So we'll go over them here. We'll start with the Texans-Bengals game.
Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Wow.
I know we have someone that's a fan of the show that likes the Bengals, and I'm so sorry. She was upset about it too. The Bengals looked awful. They couldn't get anything on offense. I thought maybe that after their interception that chopped through, they were turning for a touchdown, maybe that the Bengals were going to get some life. They didn't do anything to really show that. They really didn't find A.J. Green as much as I thought they would. They just did, and the Texans didn't look great either. So the game was one of the most boring games I've seen in the playoffs in a long time. The Texans squeak out a win Arian Foster was the only highlight of that game. He had over 100 yards rushing. He's not going to do that against New England. But kudos to the Texans winning a playoff game with Matt Schaub, his first playoff win because last year he was hurt, and TJ Yates had to take the reins. Kind of odd. The Bengals win the Texans play twice in a row in the wildcard round. The Texans win twice, so the Texans have the Bengals number. I don't know, but both teams didn't look that great to me. But the Texans win in this game. So
I agree. Both teams looked lackluster, average at best. And I gotta think that the Patriots were sitting there thinking, "Yum yum, whoever we get." You know.
I mean, you know what? Kudos to Arian Foster. I'll be an excerpt this week from a Boston reporter saying that the Patriots, the first team in NFL history to get back-to-back byes, saying that the Texans are going to be an easy game, and Arian Foster made that his avatar on Twitter. So kudos to him for using it as a motivational tool.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to matter. But like I said this.
We'll see.
Like I said, I don't think the Texans are going to win this game, but they won't lose as bad as they did. It's not going to happen.
So after the snooze fest and the crap that we had to watch to begin Saturday, you thought Vikings-Packers, a rematch from the week before where the Vikings won. Breaking news late in the day, Christian Ponder would not play.
See, I shouldn't be penalized for picking the Vikings in this sense. Because I picked the Vikings before this game. I picked the Vikings because of Christian Ponder and Adrian Peterson. No, Christian Ponder, I shouldn't be penalized for picking the Vikings. I should just get that game just clean slate. It doesn't count. Doesn't count.
It counts. Take injuries into account, it counts. Because you, sir, need to understand that we all know that, just like they say, it's football. Injuries do happen.
Right.
So, sometimes it does happen. So in this game, we'll talk about this game here.
Like I said, Joe Webb looked awful. Awful. Absolutely terrible. I mean, there were balls that are in the dirt, balls that were way overthrown. They held Adrian Peterson under 100 yards. I did say on the show, even though I picked the Vikings, I did say if they can keep Adrian Peterson under 100 yards, they don't win this game. And when they didn't, but I thought Christian Ponder would play, and obviously, he got injured and stuff like that. But I think once Joe Webb steps on the field, they had no chance of winning this game. And that was clear. So.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. And the Packers, like I said, they won this game without Randall Corn on the cob. They do get him back against the 49ers this week, and it was an absolute ugly game.
Yep.
It was not very watchable at all.
No.
Joe Webb, like you said, was abysmal.
Right.
He was not great at all. The Packers, I think, although I will say this, if Christian Ponder was in this game. Mm-hmm. There is a good possibility the Vikings could have won.
No, I agree because I think Ponder's he's not the greatest quarterback in the world. I know that, but he's good enough to beat the Packers, which he did the previous week. Even though it was in Minnesota, he's still good enough to win that game. So,
yeah, I agree.
He's not Joe Webb.
So we move on to Sunday's games. The final game, home game, more than likely. Yeah. It's still possible.
Yeah.
At MTB Bank Field for Mr. Ray Lewis.
Yep. So I think the Ravens are hopefully rooting for the Bengals in that game because possibly the Ravens would play the Bengals and if because they're a higher seed. So, but the Bengals lost and the Ravens. I expected them to lose, but the Colts. This game is kind of similar to the Texans game. No team looked really that good. Chicago did look good, but the Ravens defense gave up a lot of yards to Andrew Luck. They just couldn't get in the end zone. They scored
all field goals.
So you take field goals away. If they got in the end zone, that's 21 points. It's closer than that because they got 3 field goals. You take 3 field goals away, 3 touchdowns. It's a different ball game. But needless to say, the team was inspired behind their leader Ray Lewis, who's playing this last season. It's his final game in Baltimore. In the victory formation at the end of the game, he's in the backfield and gets to his final dance for the final time. It's a shame to see the Cinderella story of the Indianapolis Colts come to an end, but it is what it is. The Ravens move on. The Colts go home after a fantastic season.
Yep, it was definitely a fantastic season. To go from 2-14 to making the playoffs and doing it the way they do on Andrew Luck with everything that happened with Chuck Pagano and all that. You knew it was going to be a tall task. I mean, I know the Ravens haven't been playing great.
Right.
They haven't been playing as well as they should. But they did, like you said, any other team here, if they were scoring touchdowns, the Colts would have put up 30-plus on the Ravens.
Yeah.
So that bodes well for Sheriff on Saturday.
He can score a touchdown.
It ended up being a blowout, 24-9. Adam Vinatieri, all field goals by him, and he actually did miss a couple field goals as well.
So there you go.
The final game of the week.
Most competitive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And since this is both your teams, I'll let you go first here.
Obviously, on the positive, Seattle winning game on the road. They haven't done that since 1983. 30 years if you're keeping score at home, math-wise. Russell Wilson played. He played pretty good on the road. The defense stepped up. You know, and I'll get to the negative here in a minute because I'm going to really go off on the Redskins here in a minute. But I like the way they played. They were down 14-0 and they came back. They never quit. 14-0 down. They think, Seattle's going to get rolled. It's on the road, but Seattle never stopped. Marshall Lynch played great. Wilson played smart. I think this is a good win for them. I said this before. I think that win in Chicago helped them win this game. I think they battled and scratched and clawed and fought for every yard against Chicago, and they won that game in a hostile Chicago when Chicago was still a pretty good team on the road.
Right.
So they go into Washington in a hostile crowd and they win this game. And like I said, kudos to your phone's ringing. It's distracting.
I know. Yeah. Sorry, I can't help it. My phone is now. The hotline of mine is ringing.
Anyway, props to Seattle obviously for winning this game. And they're going to play Atlanta, who's a very good team at home, 7-1 this year. So it's a tough task for them in Atlanta. Now to the other side, the negatives. First, obviously, RG3 going down. Not a good sight to see at all. I picked him to win the NFC East, and I was right. But the way he played. His physical, his running style, the read option. Obviously, that game against Baltimore, he had to come out. And then Kirk Cousins had to come in against Cleveland and win that game for them, just to make it into the playoffs. Because they need that win. They needed that win along the way. Obviously, seeing him go down is not a thing I wanted to see. Obviously, thoughts and prayers with him as he recovers. He actually got surgery Wednesday morning from the illustrious surgeon that is Dr. James Andrews. So hopefully he gets a speedy recovery.
He performed surgery on everybody.
Yeah, it seems like it. So I'm happy to see. Hopefully he comes back stronger. Maybe a little bit smarter because there's some times where he gets hit and his leg is exposed. He needs to protect himself more. He's gonna learn that as he goes along as an NFL quarterback. But the reason I'm gonna go off is Daniel Snyder he is probably the second richest owner in all football behind Jerry Jones. And you look at that field. That field is disgusting. I agree with Pete Carroll 100%. That field was crappy. I'm very angry because it cost us our best defensive end in Chris Clemens. I think Bruce Irvin's going to be fine because he has 8 sacks. Chris Clemens has 11.5. 3.5 sacks is a lot, but I think Bruce Irvin's going to be fine. But I'm very angry at the Washington Redskins organization for not fixing that field. It's not just us. It happened last year with Adrian Peterson. He tore his ACL on that same exact field. The historic quarterback hurt himself too because that field messed up his footing. So you need to fix that. It's getting ridiculous. You can partially blame the Redskins organization for RG3 getting hurt and being out for as long as he's going to be out because that field is atrocious. It looked like a bunch of Clydesdales running on the track of Kentucky Derby. That's how bad it looked. That's how bad it looked. Okay. That's how bad it looked. You could watch like if you watch the game and the recap, they're showing NFL Network. They're showing it all weekend. Kirk Cousins, in the pocket. Dirt just keeps climbing up every time he takes a step. It's absolutely disgusting. It's embarrassing. Seattle does not deserve to play on that field. They're going to play at a much better field on Sunday in Atlanta inside a dome where they deserve to play. A nice turf, a good field that's going to have equal footing. Not the field they played at FedEx Field in Washington. It was absolutely disgusting, and I'm absolutely disgusted Seattle had to play that game there. I lost for words. It's absolutely terrible what they had to deal with on Sunday.
It was definitely atrocious field for sure for both teams. Obviously, the Redskins must be used to it because they seem to have no troubles. They got out to a hot start, leading 14-0, and that's what they hobbled. That's what they hobbled RG3. And then the Seahawks come roaring back.
24 straight. Yeah.
24 unanswered to win it. 24-14. Hats off to Russell Wilson. I mean, the composure this kid has as a rookie is outstanding. Mm-hmm. I mean, your first playoff game, you're a rookie, you're in a hostile environment like Washington, and you're down 14-0 like that, and you come back and you win it on the road is outstanding. I applaud Russell Wilson's performance. I applaud the Seahawks defense, the way they shut down the Redskins in the last 3 quarters of the game. I think it was very impressive. I think it sent a message to the Falcons that, with their whole, you're not going into the dome and beating us. I would not be so sure about that.
I'll say this much, and obviously I can find this clip because it's very popular. This clip is probably the play of the game for me. It's 14-3. Seattle is driving, and the handoff to Lynch is fumbled. Marshawn Lynch, reverses field, picks it up. This is like playoff time for Marshawn Lynch. He did it 2 years ago in Seattle, that spectacular run against New Orleans. He did it this year in Washington where that ball is on the ground, and you're taught, you can't teach this in football. You're taught if the ball's on the ground, you just dive on and that's it. Lynch picks up like a shortstop and runs like 20 yards. That was the play of the game because they ended up scoring a touchdown before halftime. If they didn't get that ball back, it could have been 21-3, and then who knows what would have happened. So that was the play of the game for me, Marshawn Lynch running that ball after it was a fumble. And like I said, he didn't just dive on, he picked up and ran with it. That's fantastic.
Which was great. Good stuff and a good heads-up play for sure.
Yeah.
So
he had some plays in that game where he fumbled the ball on the goal line where they could have scored, and that kind of hurt them. But he made some plays later. He picked up that fumble, like I said, and he scored the touchdown to give him the lead at the end of the game. So when it comes to playoff time, Lynch is in beast mode. And you know what I have to say? We'll get into the Falcons a little bit. I'm going to save my argument here. So.
All right, so moving on from that, we will now go to Pick'ems for the divisional round of playoffs.
We'll probably do 2, then we'll cut to break and we'll do the other 2.
I'm going to go over the Doc's picks. He did send his picks in via Morse code and telegraph. But, yeah.
Anyway, so.
The Ravens at Broncos. The Doc picks the Broncos.
Ray Lewis's last home game was last week. I thought it would be his last game ever. This week is going to be his last game ever. I don't see the Ravens. Bear in mind, when they played before, Ray Lewis was not on that field.
Right.
So this game will not be 34-17. It'll be close. I say maybe the Broncos will maybe
Porky the Pig over
the Broncos will maybe by 10 points. I see this game being very close. But I think Peyton Manning's playing fantastic football. They're in Denver. They're at home. I like Denver.
Obviously, I'm going with Denver, so I'll pick the Broncos here.
Thanks.
The Green Bay Packers go on the road to Candlestick to take on Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers.
Are you talking like they're from Boston? Gary picks the Niners.
Of course. No surprise there.
No.
Don't be shocked.
If Alex Smith was playing quarterback in this game, I would probably pick San Francisco. But I don't think Colin Kaepernick is up to the task of beating the Packers. I think the Packers are playing great at this time. They're probably the second hottest team in the NFC other than Seattle. I think they're playing good at the right time. I just don't think if he wins, kudos to Colin Kaepernick for doing it, but I just don't think he's going to do it. I pick the Packers.
Sorry, Doc. I have to agree with Big B here. I think the Packers are coming in. They played a great game against Minnesota. They get Randall Cobb back this week, which is an added bonus for them. So I'm going to take the Packers to go into Candlestick and get the W. And when we get back, we will go into Sunday's version of the divisional playoffs, and then we'll delve into wrestling right after this.
Hey, Peyton. Welcome back.
Thanks, Papa. What are we going to do to kick off this season?
Same thing as last season. 1 million free Papa John's pizzas.
Good idea. 2 million free pizzas. I like it.
No. 1 million free Papa John pizzas.
2 million pizzas it is. Let's do it.
All season long, Papa John's has 2 million free pizzas for Papa Rewards members. Sign up now at papajohns.com, where a large buffalo chicken pizza is $10 or any large $2 more.
Better ingredients?
Better pizza.
Papa John's. Really? 2 million free pizzas?
Wait till you see what's next.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brandon Nemiro. And before the break, we were in to divisional pick'ems. And we've already picked the Saturday games. So moving on to the Sunday games. The Seattle Seahawks go on the road to the Georgia Dome to take on Matty Ice and the Atlanta Falcons.
And Gary picks the home team.
Gary picks the home team, the Falcons.
All right,
this is starting to be a trend with him.
Yeah, right. This is where I was going to go in terms of the Atlanta Falcons. My argument here. People are saying the Atlanta Falcons are number 1 seed. She doesn't play well at home. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. Seattle beat Chicago and they beat Washington plus. So they're 4-5 on the road as far as I'm concerned. So that's a pretty good record on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Take you back. Some people think, oh, Atlanta's 13-3. They're a good team. Take you back. Let's rewind a little bit. 2010 season. The Atlanta Falcons. Their record was 13-3. They're the number one seed. They're number one seed. I think they were. They played at home. Okay, I think they were number one seed that year.
Neither here nor there, doesn't matter.
So they played their first game, 13-3 season, in Atlanta against their Green Bay Packers, and they get trounced. So why should the season be any different than this year? You know, like I said, as a fan, I want Seattle to win, obviously. And they're playing. And obviously, there's issues with Chris Clemens out, and we're signing a new kicker, hasn't played all season, and this and that. You know, but I think the defense is good because, like I said, we're good at pass rushing, but I think our powerful corner, like they said, the Legion of Boom, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, and Brandon Browner, that corners back there, are going to be good enough to, I think, contain the receivers. Watch out for Tony Gonzalez. He's going to be tough to contain. Like I said, history just should repeat itself. They have not won a playoff game in the Matt Ryan and Mike Smith era. Atlanta just seems to do this. They play hot. Like I said, I don't care about the Atlanta Falcons in the regular season. I never have. They get to the playoffs and they lay an egg. They did it last year. They did it the year before that. So I just, all the and the thing is, there's really no pressure on Seattle. There's really not. They won a road playoff game. They get the monkey off their back. They won a road playoff game. They haven't done it in 30 years. The pressure is on the Atlanta Falcons. They always do this. They have to live up something. Matt Ryan has not won a playoff game yet. There's a lot of pressure on Atlanta. That's why I'm picking Seattle. The pressure is so much on Atlanta. Seattle just has an easier time because Atlanta's feeling the pressure. They have to win this game because they're number one seed and they got to prove it to people. Like I said, this game's not going to be easy for Seattle. It's not. Atlanta's a good team. But the thing about Atlanta is their run defense isn't that great, and Marshall Lynch is playing really great. So I think that's going to be the X factor in this game. Marshall Lynch really running against this Atlanta defense.
This is a tough.
After my soliloquy there.
This is a tough. Well, even before your soliloquy, this was already a toss-up, and this is probably the toughest game to pick. If I was going to put money on, this is the one I'd be the most hesitant on putting money on. I would be confident in putting money on the Broncos, the Packers, and the other team we'll get to in a minute. But this game here, I'm on the fence. And the wind is blowing me one way, and then the wind blows me the other. But I got to make a pick, and so I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the upset here. I'll pick the Seahawks to win in Atlanta. So
I hope so, fella.
the final game of the week that will determine the final slot in the AFC Championship game. The Houston Texans go on the road to Gillette Stadium, where Tom Brady usually doesn't lose.
Usually.
And the New England Patriots, the doctor, again, just like he did in all the other games, picks the home team.
Question about this game is, obviously the winner of this game knows who they're going to play.
More than likely, they could be going to Denver.
Right. So, but Ravens aren't bad.
Yeah, I know.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But this game is not going to be 42-14 like it was Monday Night Football. It's not going to happen. I see Arian Foster getting more touches, getting more yards. But the thing is about the Houston Texans offense, it's Arian Foster or bust, because when they shut Arian Foster down, they couldn't really do anything. I like Andre Johnson, but other than that, they didn't really have him. They have Owen Daniels, he's okay, Walter's okay, but other than Arian Foster is their offense. If they shut him down, he's kind of similar to Adrian Peterson. If they shut him down, they really can't do anything, and they didn't shut him down against Cincinnati, and that's why Houston won. I think the Patriots are able to shut him down. I say he has a better game than he had in New England in Monday Night Football, but I don't think he has enough game to win. So I'm going to pick New England in this one. I think New England at home in the playoffs, you really can't bet against them. I pick New England.
I'll pick the Patriots as well. It's a definite safe bet to take the Brady bunch at home.
So we picked all the same game this week.
We did. That is a rarity. We never do that.
Hopefully me and PostMaster go 4-0.
If we do, then Doc will go 2-2. So.
And, it's kind of said something, let's look at this real quick, okay?
All right.
If the Ravens win and play the Patriots, the AFC is more interesting than the NFC in terms of rematches. Because if the Ravens win, they play the Patriots for the second straight year. The field goal debacle of last year sent the Patriots Super Bowl when the Patriots played the horrible game Tom Brady did. But if the Texans beat the Patriots, not really excitement, right?
No.
Okay? NFC side.
Well, you forgot to mention that if the Broncos and Patriots both win, you get Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady, which that always gets killer ratings.
Again, and Peyton Manning lost the first one, but that was earlier in the season. I think the Broncos are better now than they were then. And the flip side on the NFC, if the Packers win and play the Falcons,
that's a good matchup.
It's a good matchup, but it's not really as exciting as something else can be. Seahawks win, boy, is that an exciting matchup because of what happened in Week 3. Because of the controversial call it was, people are going to say...
Or if it's Seahawks 49ers.
Again, for the third time.
Third time.
I think as a football fan, you have to root for the Broncos and the Patriots and the Seahawks and the Packers because you want to see Brady and Manning in the final encounter before they go to New Orleans, which I think would be a fantastic game.
Absolutely.
And I think even though I'm a Seattle fan, I think honestly the Seahawks game against the Packers would be more enjoyable because of what happened Week 3. If that doesn't happen Week 3 and Seattle loses that game, nothing. There's no reason this game should happen again. But you really don't have a definitive winner because Seattle won the game controversially. There's a penalty by Golden Tate. They called it a touchdown. Seattle wins the game at home. They play this game now. It's like, well, you know what? You're coming to our house. The referees aren't here to save you this time. Coming from a Green Bay fan, they aren't here to save you this time.
Right.
But Seattle's playing better now. So I think those are more interesting matchups to me in terms of enjoyable games. I'm not saying the other games wouldn't be enjoyable, but I'm saying Seattle and Green Bay and New England and Denver is more of a terms of exciting matchup heading into New Orleans because it puts rematches again that I think we might have a different outcome. I don't know, but like I said, in terms of a fan perspective, that's what I like to see.
Right. I'd have to agree, although I think a Seahawks-Niners matchup would be better than a Seahawks-Packers matchup just because it's your division rival. You played twice. The Seahawks almost won the division. You split. This would be the rubber match. This would be for all the marbles to go a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
So I think in terms of matchups, no one's really rooting for Atlanta. In terms of an exciting matchup, would you think?
No, and I think nobody's rooting for Atlanta. Nobody's rooting for the Texans.
Yeah, so
it's like
number one seeds. Oh no, they were number one seed. Texans.
The Falcons are number one, and then the Texans. It's like,
I mean, it's
but there is potential for huge storylines.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens.
All right, so that wraps up the NFL. And with that, we'll now talk about a little wrestling action. So let's talk about a little OVW Saturday Night Special.
I didn't attend, and I know you didn't either. The doctor attended, surprisingly.
Which is weird.
I didn't watch it, obviously, since I wasn't there, but I heard it was very good. I saw pictures. It seemed like there was a lot of people there, crowd-wise, so good for them having the numbers that they need for the show. I heard it was very exciting. I heard the match between...
Cliff Compton and Jamal Levin.
Very good.
Cliff Compton did win the title.
I heard it was a good
TV
match.
title, right?
I heard Jessie Bell beat Taylor Henry for the women's title.
Yeah.
I think in terms of Taylor, she really has nothing more to do in OVW in terms of her career.
No, she doesn't.
I think she needs to go to full force in the TNA.
Well, that's not up to her. I'm sure she would. I'm sure she would agree with you.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think in terms of if you're watching Taylor, I think there's nothing more you can do in OVW. You've been champion multiple times. I think the sky's the limit. I think you just need to go to TNA and get the training that you need there to move up in your career. Because I think OVW, you've done you've done your Taylor Hendricks duties in OVW. I think it's time to move on.
Right.
Your Taylor Hendricks duties in TNA because I think her OVW stuff is just she's done everything. So.
Absolutely. So it's good to see the good crowd at OVW at Saturday Night Special. It's good to see they packed the house. As always, if you want to get more coverage on OVW, you can check out the Brian Cannon at ovw.blogspot.com. Oh, no, wait a minute. OVmania.blogspot.com.
There's a link below.
There's a link below. You can check it out.
Another match I was going to mention was the six-man match at the end of the show. Chris Silvio was the mystery person, and the face team ended up winning. Nice to see Silvio back, but like I've said before, I think Silvio needs to leave. I think Silvio needs to go to bigger bet. Silvio is just way too good, I think, to be in OVW. I think Silvio deserves to be in TNA or WWE. I think Silvio brought back the mystery person is nice for the fans, but I think Silvio. We talked about OVW before where they're pushing TNA talent, and if Silvio gets lost in the shuffle because he's not part of TNA yet, I think he needs. I guarantee you Silvio's trying. As I'm not saying he's not.
Right.
But I think in terms of talent-wise, I think Silvio needs to somehow, I don't know, go somewhere or something because he's not really being utilized as well as I think he should be. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not trying to tell OVW how to do their job. I'm not. But
I agree with you.
But I'm just saying, from a personal fan standpoint, I see Sylvia used more because they know Sylvia's a great talent. They're not blind to that. So
I totally agree. Your opinion is definitely valid, and I think it's one worth pointed out and merited for sure. So we want to thank everybody at OV Wrestling, Frank Miller, TP2, who had a rough go of it at the Saturday Night Special. Ended up with a bruised hip, a concussion, and a couple other things. So get well, Frank, and we want to thank all the guys and gals over there as well for all the stuff they do, promoting our show and coming on our show when and where they can. Right. So we also want to thank our good friends Terry Bodie and Cheryl Conley, who pretty soon we'll be able to just say Terry and Cheryl because before long they'll be a married couple. Right, so if you want to check out OV Wrestling, you can do so at ovwrestling.com, or you can check them out on blip.tv. Their episodes are up on Thursdays, right before our shows is usually uploaded. Usually. And you can also check them out here in the Louisville area on WKYI Channel 138 at 1 o'clock and 9 o'clock Eastern time.
This weekend might be tough though for that.
Could be, couldn't it? So with that wraps up OVW coverage. And now we will do a little year in review when it comes to wrestling. Just kind of looking back at some of the biggest moments in wrestling.
Sheamus won the Royal Rumble.
Yep. Sheamus did win the Royal Rumble.
Surprisingly.
We all thought it was going to be Chris Jericho. I remember we said on the show, it was like Jericho's going to win the Rumble.
It was like a key to win.
Yeah, it was a foregone conclusion.
Obviously, WrestleMania this year was fantastic.
It was very fantastic. I was there.
Rock Cena, once in a lifetime. Keep it that way. End of an era match, Taker.
Wow.
Michael's referee.
The 18-second match.
The 18-second match. Punk and Jericho was another good match.
Yes.
I moving forward, I thought the match between them and Extreme Rules was better. Jericho and Punk was better than WrestleMania match. I thought the match Extreme Rules was better.
You had Triple H and Brock Lesnar feuding.
SummerSlam, yeah.
You had John Cena feuding with Brock Lesnar for a while, which was good stuff.
And Brock Lesnar came back. That's it.
Brock Lesnar did come back. So
the emergence of Ryback.
Yep.
That was big. Obviously, he's still.
God, is he uber over.
Yeah. CM Punk being champion.
417 days, roughly.
I'm counting. I know he's counting.
Yeah, of course. I thought it was funny. Kind of a funny note about CM Punk. I saw this picture, this caption.
That's good.
Did you see that?
With Florida State, with the Florida.
No. It was like a collage of pictures with him and Paul Heyman, and in every photo, Paul Heyman was holding the title. And at the bottom, it was the guy from Futurama, and it said, "I'm not sure if Paul Heyman is the champion or CM Punk is the champion." Yeah. As the Triple Threat Talk hotline is in full effect tonight.
Exactly.
Wowzer. Who could be calling in now?
Right.
But all in all, it was an excellent year for WWE.
Right.
Obviously, WrestleMania time is their big time. You always have that downtime. Tables, Ladders, and Chairs was one of the best pay-per-views of the year, just like I told you it would be.
It was good.
They never disappoint. Obviously, with the firing of John Laurinaitis.
Benefit to that. Obviously, WrestleMania was announced for WrestleMania 29 in New York or New Jersey, whatever you want to call it, in MetLife Stadium. That's going to be exciting. I think we did a good year this year. Obviously, 2013 looks a lot more promising as we're going to get into Raw here in a little bit. But I like I said, last year we had more in depth because we were going to go over. But just a quick recap of the year.
Just some of the biggest happenings and going on that happened last year. So when we get back from break, we will recap Raw and preview SmackDown right after this.
Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar. I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to ovwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. ovwrestling.com, click on school.
And we're back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brandon DeMiro. I guess we also forgot to mention the
Shield.
The Shield.
3MB.
The
factions, I guess you could say.
The emergence of Cody Rhodes' mustache. Oh God! Stop it.
I must ask you a question.
You shall. You look like Charlie Chaplin. So recapping Raw.
I looked at the ratings today. They did very good.
Yes, they did phenomenal.
It obviously benefited from the not game that was Notre Dame and Alabama.
And when you have a guy named The Rock on the show, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt. I mean, yeah, it doesn't hurt.
It does help. It does help.
So kicking off the show was John Cena, of course, because he ended the year. So obviously he's going to start.
And hopefully next week I'll have a box of Fruity Pebbles on the set with his picture on it.
Yes, that was epic.
I'm looking for that.
That is epic.
Limited time only though. But
limited time only, and he's in a blue shirt. Blue, which is interesting.
Right. So.
Because my phone is not ringing again.
Jeez.
Cheese and crackers. So a very good match. Wow. Yeah. For the first match of the year. I know you didn't like the ending.
No.
It was.
Well, I didn't mind the ending. It's typical Cena coming out of nowhere.
It was clearly Super Cena in full effect.
Yeah.
But it was an epic match.
Yeah. First match of the new year.
Half an hour match, basically.
Good job.
Cena and Ziggler's back and forth. Excellent match. I mean, I told him, I said, "Wow, what a way to start the show! It's amazing."
And I've said before, and I'm completely 100% saying it now. You can look back on this show, 5-6 years from now, and know that I'm right. Dolph Ziggler's the next Shawn Michaels. There's no denying it. I mean, what?
Go ahead.
Okay, but I'm saying the guy is fantastic. I mean, his showmanship is reminds me of Shawn Michaels. It's like he reminds me of Shawn Michaels.
I've seen that guy somewhere before.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. We'll get to that. But what do you call it? No, I mean, Dolph Ziggler's just fantastic. I mean, he deserves everything he's getting. He needs to be. Obviously, we'll get into SmackDown a little bit later, and I think he's going to be world champion sooner than we think. But I mean, I don't know if Gary would agree because he's a big Shawn Michaels fan, just like myself. But Dolph Ziggler is the next Shawn Michaels. Like I said, you could mark it down now that I said it, and it's going to happen because the guy is just. I mean, the guy is so freaking talented. There's no other way I could say it. I mean, he just oozes charisma. Dolph Ziggler, he does. It's mind-boggling. Someone
Ninja Turtle oozing.
Well, I mean, it's mind-boggling that this guy is this good, and he just is this good. I mean, he can be cocky, but he backs it up. I mean, some people don't agree with that, and that's fine. It's your opinion. But in my humble opinion, Dolph Ziggler is a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Dolph Ziggler is just fantastic, and I can't say anything else to that. He's a phenomenal talent.
He definitely takes his lumps, that's for sure. The poor guy goes through hell.
No, Shawn Michaels did too.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels did too.
Yep.
So it's like similarities.
Yeah, it is a little. Team Rhodes Scholars picked up a big win over Team Hell No.
Yeah, I think that's setting up them to be the tag team champions.
Yeah.
I think they're very high on Sander and Cody Rhodes, so I think they're going to get a run with the titles. And I think I agree with you in terms of the question earlier is that I think Daniel Bryan and Kane, they've done everything. I think they're going to split them.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense. You had Eve walking out on Caitlyn.
Yeah.
In their match. I don't understand that. It's
the one thing that Triple H is dropping the ball on is the Divas thing. I know he said he's going to repackage that, and he needs to do that because you have a match with two Divas that are very good in the ring, two of the best that they have in terms of wrestling. Because I've seen Caitlyn wrestle; she was very good in the match she had at TLC. But now you have her walk out of the match, and it's like, give them time to wrestle. I know they're trying to make Eva heel, and I completely get that. Mm-hmm. But you need something to get the Divas division, grasp it, put a chokehold on and say, we need to fix this because it's embarrassing. The Divas division is laughable. It's just like they don't even have one. It's even Caitlyn, they don't even wrestle. So I think I know it's not a big deal to some people, but I think a number one priority on Triple H's checklist is fix the Divas division because it's bad.
It is bad, definitely. What was good, however, was the tables, ladders, and chairs match. Outstanding for a Raw. What another outstanding match.
I know everyone knows wrestling is fixed and whatever, and wrestling does hurt. And the one thing I saw on Raw that I know had to hurt was Ryback being powerbombed through a table onto the steel stairs. Usually you have something to break your fall. Nothing broke his fall on that, nothing broke his fall on that spot, and that just sends shivers up and down Ryback's spine as Punk was able to pick up the win.
With the help of the Shield again.
Yeah, I think this might be setting up for a handicap match at WrestleMania. Maybe the Shield versus just Ryback. I don't know what they're doing with that, but that seems like maybe what they're going for. I don't know.
Could be. And then you had CM Punk come out and say, before Rock makes his appearance,
CM Punk went pipe bomb number 2.
And boy, did he ever.
Wasn't as emphatic as the first one.
This
but
one
he said some things.
He seemed like he was bashing the fans more than anything.
Yeah, I think some things he said, obviously rang true about Tyson Kidd and Little Jimmy and stuff like that. He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
So he's kind of like speaking the truth. And then The Rock comes out.
And The Rock, I'm sorry, is the greatest mic promo cutter ever.
You can't deny. You can argue that. I think Chris Jericho's up there too, but I think nothing. But the thing that I would attest to your point about that, the dude can say anything the crowd chant. He chanted "Cookie Puss" for crying out loud.
I ain't calling that the crowd to go nuts for Cookie Puss.
Yeah, really.
What is that? Is that even a word?
It's ice cream.
Is it?
Look it up.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. Good, but I mean, it was crazy. He's like Cookie Puss. I'm like, what the?
Rock could say anything. He could say chant discount tires. They'd say it. Doesn't matter.
He said that CM Punk looked like a crack-headed Popeye.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
He said it doesn't matter that you matter.
I'll say this about The Rock. Sometimes his mic work can be soft and work, but when he wants to get in your face, he'll get in your face. And he did. He got in his face.
Yeah, it was very good stuff. It was,
and I agree with you. I think Punk took it a little too far saying you're going to be boxing with God. I didn't even care for that myself.
That was like really...
That's kind of over the line a little bit.
I'm like,
But Punk is Punk. He can say what he wants.
Exactly. He has a free reign on the microphone. He can say what he wants.
But yeah, I think...
but an awesome ending to Raw. Epic segment. I wish it could have went longer.
Rock bottom at the end. So that kind of gives the edge to Rock at this point in terms of who won up the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I said... we didn't think... And Raw beat Catfish this week, which they haven't done in a long time. It's the highest Raw since August, so good job.
I'm calling my shot. Raw will win the ratings...
next week.
From here on out through WrestleMania.
Depends on Catfish is. Catfish, they might. But,
what is this Catfish?
Look it up again. Look things up, fella.
Catfish.
I'll tell you after the show.
Alright.
But, they benefited from a bad game. If the game was more competitive... Raw wouldn't have done as well, I'm telling you now. But the game was over before halftime.
And it was also smart that their biggest match was on during halftime.
Yeah, I think they planned that.
CM Punk versus Ryback.
You asked if that was coincidence. I said no. They made sure they did that. They planned around when the game would be at halftime, so it's like... And luckily for them, the game was a blowout. If the game was competitive, they might not have done as well. But the game was over. Like I said, the game was even over before halftime. So,
previewing a little bit of SmackDown this week.
We don't like to give spoilers on this show.
But we can now.
WWE revealed, and I think this doesn't make sense to me. They revealed their big match last night. The last match between Alberto Del Rio and The Big Show for the World Heavyweight Championship. And they revealed that Del Rio wins. This is a problem, and someone tweeted last night, and I completely agree with them. They said, why can't SmackDown be live? And this affects that. It's taped, and this is obviously
no one's gonna watch it.
Well, things are gonna leak out. So maybe from WWE's standpoint, they assume this is gonna leak out.
It would have leaked out.
So they just assume to just release it to the public.
Right.
I guess the same thing with Wade Barrett when he won the Intercontinental with Kingston. So I mean, am I happy with it? Yes. I can't say The Big Show. Is it good? No. I don't think WWE should be champion either. But like I said before, we're talking about Raw and Dolph Ziggler. This makes a lot of people before. You thought Dolph Ziggler would catch it over The Big Show. Kind of hard to knock that guy down. He's kind of trying to knock down a big tree.
Right.
Eventually someone's going to knock it over a couple times and it'll fall.
Right, absolutely.
But Del Rio, it's not a big tree. He can get knocked down pretty easily. So I think the transition now is we need to give this guy the belt because we need to give Dolph Ziggler the belt. Because I think Dolph Ziggler winning over Del Rio is a lot more believable and easier than doing it to The Big Show.
I think it would have looked a lot worse had Dolph Ziggler cashed in and won on a taping.
Last night,
than Del Rio winning and it being revealed on a taping.
Yeah, so...
I mean, that would have been worse. I don't think they would have went that far with it.
The only other thing in terms of SmackDown that I'm looking for...
The Rock.
I haven't heard anything from The Rock in terms of spoil. I haven't read anything.
No, but The Rock is on SmackDown, which is great for SmackDown.
Yeah, so I think SmackDown's a watch this week. I usually skip SmackDown. But I'm watching this week. So,
good stuff with wrestling. A great Raw to start the new year. I love WrestleMania time as a wrestling fan.
Yeah,
we all do.
Yeah, like usually WWE towards the end of the year and then in the summer it's kind of slow and sluggish. It's like really.
After SummerSlam, it kind of goes. Ugh.
But then I think you can make an argument now. December through April, they're in WrestleMania mode.
Yeah.
Except for the last 2 weeks of the year because I don't think they really try in terms of.
They don't, obviously. I mean, they all break character and do a sing along.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, they're in WrestleMania mode right now. So if you're a wrestling fan, this is why we've definitively said time and time again that WWE is better than TNA, because when TNA gets into Battle for Glory mode, which is their big show, nothing really is that different.
No, it's all the
when
same.
WWE gets into WrestleMania mode, they put their foot on the pedal and they go 100 miles an hour full force because they know what this time means to them, that their biggest show is on the horizon. They really put their creative juices flowing and really get things going for WrestleMania mode because they're in it right now and it's starting to show.
Yep, definitely. So with that wraps up wrestling this week. Before we head out, Big B, do you got any wild cards?
I don't have a wild card. No, you have a wild card though.
I do have a wild card. This past Sunday, here in Louisville, it was known on Twitter by the one and only Shawn Michaels that he was headed to town for an archery and trade show convention. I was fortunate enough to actually catch up with Shawn Michaels. Matter of fact, Big B.
Yes.
Here's a picture. Mm-hmm. Me and the one and only Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, together. He was very friendly. We talked just briefly. I told him, thanks for your time. I told him, awesome job. This, that, and the other. Yeah. Everything, the right things you should say, obviously, to pay somebody of his caliber respect, because he's owed that, obviously.
Yeah, and obviously this picture shows greatness and you. So.
I went a couple weeks without joking on you, but you're really towing the line.
I do. It's too easy.
I know. So you have Andy of the Week?
I do. I think he's been Andy of the Week twice before. I think he's been Andy of the Week already.
So is this 3 times or 2?
I don't know, maybe 2. I don't know. I haven't kept track. Rex Ryan yet again. There's an article that I read
earlier. Getting a tattoo of Mark Sanchez on his wife's body.
I mean, that's another one. I think it has to be what he said about the Jets, that he held them back offensively, and they're a team next year you don't want to mess with. They're going to be dangerous next year. You really can't say that after the season you had. Mark Sanchez was the worst quarterback in football. Obviously losing Darrell Reeves was a big blow to your defense. I agree with that. Right. But you really have no reason Rex Ryan, shut your mouth and just let the team play.
Exactly.
You open your mouth before you even think it happens. Your team went 6-10. You have no reason to say anything. If the Giants did that last year, they have an argument. They won the Super Bowl, but they don't say anything. They keep their mouth shut and let the players play. Let your players play.
Maybe you should hire his brother. He's available.
Yeah, right. Rob Ryan didn't get fired. That's right. Yeah. So Rex Ryan here this week's Triple Threat Talk, episode 82, Idiot of the Week.
I think that wraps it up, Big B. Good show. Unfortunately, the Doc couldn't be here, but me and you were held down for it.
If you want to like us on Facebook, please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk. You can send us any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. So Triple Threat Talk, this is Big B.
This is Postmaster Jones, and finally, I can don my Predators hat and say, go Preds, go! It's hockey season. We'll see you next week.
This is Big B signing off, and don't forget, Sunday is also bowling! Bowling! Woohoo! See you next week, we're gonna go bowling. See you, everybody.